Today I am coming at you with a moving advice video. I am actually in the process of moving out of a 2-bedroom townhouse, as you can see with the boxes in the background. This will actually be my 10th time moving in the past 8 months, so not to toot my own horn or anything, but I know a little something about moving, and I have a lot of knowledge up here that I want to get to you guys out there. There are 3 big topics that I want to talk about in this video, which are planning for your move, packing, and your actual move-in day. So let's get right into it. Actually, before we get into it, do you guys see Bug and Gatsby in that corner? About 2 to 3 weeks before you move, you want to start planning it, and the first thing you want to think about is your moving budget. For me, my rule of thumb is whatever the amount of money I think I will need to move, I add 25% onto that, and that's probably how much I will end up spending, give or take. The reason for that is because there are a lot of unanticipated unbudgeted costs that you don't think about, or you under budget for something. So for example, you're probably going to use a lot more packing supplies than you think. If you're renting a truck, you'll probably rent it for a lot more hours than you think you'll need to. You'll use a lot more gas than you think you'll need to. If you're hiring movers, I guarantee you that the costs you end up paying them will be more than what they've quoted for you. So just a few things to think about when it comes to your budget. Another thing that you have to do about 2 weeks before you move is to change your address from your old place to your new place for all your personal IDs and all of your bills and services. So hydro, heat, insurance, utilities, all of those service providers will actually be able to like overlap your services for you. So if you're moving on March 5th, but the last day at your old place is March 10th, they'll be able to do like a 5-day overlap for you. And most service providers will do that, with the exception of internet. With internet, the day that you have to pick like the last day of internet at your old place, and then that'll be the first day you'll have internet at your new place. So if you're like me and you can't live without internet, get on that ASAP. The internet service provider I use, you need to call like at least 5 to 8 business days ahead if you want the date and the time that you want. So I called them like 2 weeks before the move-in date and was like, can you guys come on this day at this time, because I'm extra and I don't want to stay in a place with no internet for like 5 days. You also need to plan how you're gonna get from point A to point B. So are you renting a truck? If you are, get that arranged ASAP. For me, the only truck rental company I have in my area is U-Haul, and I'm not the biggest fan of their service. I've had problems with them. I've heard people who have had problems with them, but I don't have a choice. Like, I have to use U-Haul. If you do have choices, do your research. I wouldn't recommend using U-Haul. Maybe it's different in your area, but for me, there's been times where I've gone to the U-Haul pickup location and they don't have the truck that I ordered weeks ago. And I've heard of people who have gone on like wild goose chases to different U-Haul pickup locations before they finally were able to pick up, you know, the truck that they wanted. Something to think about is, are you gonna hire movers, or are you gonna get your friends to help? Really consider using movers if you're moving out of like a 4-bedroom house and you have a lot of stuff, or if you have a lot of fragile, awkward shaped furniture. Movers will really be able to help you out with that. After all, they are supposed to be professionals. If you do consider movers, please do your due diligence and your research. Google them, hire reputable movers. Like nowadays on Google, you see all of the reviews, read them, and find someone that you trust. It is in your best interest to hire movers which cost more per hour but are reputable and can get the job done, than to hire cheaper movers who are inexperienced and end up taking longer to do the job and therefore costing you more money. I've actually been in that situation where I cheaped out and I hired a cheap moving company thinking that it would cost me less money, but it turned out the reason why they were so cheap was because they were inexperienced, and it literally took them twice as long to move my furniture than it would have taken any other moving company, and I ended up paying more. So lesson learned, there. If you're asking your friends to help, ask them very, very nicely, ask them ahead of time, give them a heads up since they are doing a favor for you. Also, if you're moving into a condo, 99.99% of condos have moving protocols where you have to book their service elevator ahead of time for the date and the number of hours you want. So make sure you do that so that you can move on the day and the time that you want. And if you're moving into into a house, I would consider asking for the keys a few days ahead of when you actually move. That way you have the option of moving things in slowly over a certain amount of time versus like moving in all at once on one day. Plus, you get to take the time to like measure out your rooms and figure out what furniture you want, what furniture you don't want, and most importantly, you get to pre-clean your house before you move in, which is awesome. About a week before you move in, do your last grocery haul. For me, I usually buy like my big last grocery haul 7 to 10 days before I decide to move out, and then I just spend that whole week eating whatever's left in my fridge. And then 2 days before I move out, I just clean out my entire fridge and I spend the next 2 nights just eating out. It's not ideal because it's not healthy and it's expensive, but in the long run, it really saves you time and effort. And along that same token, do your last load of laundry like 2 or 3 nights before you move out. Pack yourself an overnight bag, enough clothes for 2 nights, your essentials, and yeah, like you'll have to live out of that bag and it's not glamorous at all, but it really does save you a lot of time and effort. The next topic I want to talk about is packing. Depending on how much stuff you have or how big your house is, it really determines when you should start packing. For me, I started packing 2 weeks ago. I remember when I was a student, I could literally pack and move my 1 bedroom of things in a day, but now I'm working full time. I have so much more crap that I've accumulated that I can't afford to dedicate like a single day to packing. I've just been doing like an hour or two every night, and it's really worked out for me. It's actually kept me a lot more organized. Take this time to declutter. Set aside things you want to sell, you want to donate, you want to give away. If you're giving things away and your friends are helping you move, give them dibs on what they want to take first. Things you can declutter from your life include books, rarely used electronics or appliances, old furniture, clothing, makeup. Actually, one really good piece of advice for decluttering clothing that I have that you could probably use going forward is I usually clean out my closet once a year or when I move, and then when I'm actually re-putting like my clothes back into my closet, I will turn all of the hangers the opposite way and hang them up. And then like throughout the year, as I'm wearing all the clothes and hanging them back, I hang them back with the hanger the right way. And then at the end of the year or when I'm moving out, I look at all the hangers that are still the opposite direction, and those clothes just go. They just go in the dump because I haven't worn them for a year and I sure as hell am not gonna wear them again. When it comes to packing priorities, start with all of the decorative items first. So art hanging on walls, little knickknacks that you have on for display, books even, and then move on to all of your extras. So like extra cleaning supplies, extra food, dried food, canned food, sports equipment, winter equipment, summer clothes if you're moving in the winter, winter clothes if you're moving in the summer, anything that you can live without for the next couple of days. And then move on to your bedroom and then your common areas, which most likely will all be packed just a few days before you move. I love packing in cardboard boxes. I just find it so easy and organized. If you can move using reusable storage containers, you totally should do that. I can't afford to do that, so I use cardboard boxes, but if you can, I highly recommend it. It's better for the environment. You can reuse it again. Label everything. I like to be really descriptive when I'm labeling, so instead of just putting clothes, I'll put like shorts, t-shirts, dresses, or instead of just putting dishes, I'll put like plates, bowls, Also, label the room that the box is going to go into. That way when people are moving, they know exactly where everything's going to go. They don't have to come and ask you. If you don't know where a box is going to go in your new place, so for instance, if it's carrying decorative items, just label it as the room where it came from at your old place, because chances are if you're wishy-washy about where you want something to go, when you move, you're going to forget where you maybe sort of thought you wanted it, or like you just might change your mind and it'll just get lost. So for things that you don't know where to go, label it where it was in your old place. The last tip I have is not to use garbage bags for moving, because that is not what garbage bags are meant for. They are meant for garbage, which is exactly what someone might mistake your very expensive clothing for. Speaking from experience. The last topic I want to talk about is the actual move-in day. Pack everything the day before you move so that the day that you're moving, all you're doing is moving things from one place to another place, because the last thing people want to be doing is helping you pack when they're there to help you move. And plus, last minute packing totally goes against all of the advice that I'm giving in this video. Always move heavy furniture into the truck first. The last thing you want to do is to be playing Tetris and maneuvering heavy furniture around other things, because that is how you pull your back. It's going to be so much easier to move heavy furniture into an empty tin, trust me. But try and have a schedule and move early. Things are gonna get delayed for sure, and you don't wanna end up moving at night. It's just so much harder. If things don't go per your schedule or your plan, which they won't, don't freak out about it. Go in with low expectations, expect that something's gonna go wrong, and if it doesn't, good for you, hallelujah. I am so happy for you, and I hope things go as smoothly for me as they do for you. And my last and final piece of advice is, if you're using movers, provide refreshments and food so that it gets them throughout the day. They have energy, they can help you get the job done. And if you're asking your friends for help, you damn better well have a nice icy cold beer and a bunch of food for them. They're doing you a massive favor and saving you a ton of money, so the least you can do is to provide some beers and some food after and just have a good time. That is all the advice that I have. If you have any questions, leave them down below and I will try to answer them. For those of you who are moving, I am so excited for you and your new adventure. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys soon. Bye! If you like what you see, please subscribe and check out some of my similar videos or the last video that I posted. Thank you guys so much for your support, and have an awesome day.